Ugh. Hi, I'm Sailor Moon, and I'm Sailor Jupiter. Um, I'm Serena, and I'm Lita too. And today we're gonna talk about, you know, anyway. So today we're gonna talk about. What are we gonna talk about? I don't know. So yeah, I'm not really truly sure what we're gonna talk about. But here it goes. So anyway, what are we going to talk about? I don't know what we're going to talk about here. All right. So today we're going to talk about how there is this thing between Sailor Moon followers out there, and I don't know what we're going to talk about. We sometimes we have a thought where we're going with, and other times we don't have a thought where we're going with. So, yeah, here it is. Alright. So, yeah, let's do it. So, you got Toonmakers Moon, which was going to be the Sailor Moon that would have been if Deke did not win the rights. Now, a lot of folks believe that, Deke did not. A lot of folks felt that Deke didn't say. Would talk about how Deke and Ethan Pioneer were. How Deke didn't say, "Oh, they weren't being, trusting to the show," which they were. Toonmakers, you know, didn't really be that trusting to the show, and they wanted to do a mix between a drawing film and a live show. And why Toonmakers didn't get their shows is that it was worth too much. You know, it wasn't that it was the saga and tale behind about how Deke won over Toonmakers wasn't that Deke did a more good job and Toonmakers didn't do a good job. It was that it was worth too much for them to do a show between a live drawing film and a live film or a live show. So that was how Deke ended up getting the right to do theirs. And a lot of folks, some folks liked the Deke take and some folks didn't like the Deke take. But I don't really know what anyone thinks of the Toonmaker take. All there really was just a trail, I guess, a upcoming of it, and that was about it. There really wasn't anything else, to talk about. And some folks always called it Siobhan Moon, but that wasn't its true name. I don't really think Siobhan had anything to do with it, except, I don't know, maybe the songs, maybe the songs at that time. Yeah, you're right, Sailor Moon. I think at the time the only thing I think that Siobhan may have done anything with that would have been the song that Toonmakers made for the show. Yeah, back in I guess 1994, while there was a bid fight between Deke and Toonmakers over who was going to get the rights to the show. And on one side, Deke was going to do their take, and Toonmakers did their take. And where Deke, it was just a live drawing film or the drawing show. Toonmakers had done a shift between a drawing film and a live film, or a drawing show and a live show. which that was worth too much, and there was no way that that could be done. So out of it being worth too much, Toonmakers, that's how Deke ended up winning it. Now, a lot of folks would think, mind see if that was the Sailor Moon that came. Mind see that I know a lot of folks didn't like the Deke take and didn't like the Pioneer take, but mind see if Toonmakers had gotten the right to do theirs. Then instead of bitching about what Deke did or what Pioneer did, they would have been bitching about Toonmakers and about how they wish that Deke would have gotten the rights to do it because they wish how the show would have been if it was staying true to itself. I know some folks would, some folks would have said they would have liked that one over the other, but I have a belief that at the end of the day, they would have seeked wrong. They would have scathed Toonmakers one for either being nothing like the Deke one or the Pioneer one, which if Toonmakers would have gotten it right, that one would not have been. Or they would have, said, that would have been the one. And then the only way that anyone would have seen it was if one, I don't know. But that didn't happen, and Toonmakers didn't win a right out of it being worth too much to do what they wanted to do for the show. So Deke ended up winning over Toonmakers. You're right about that, Sailor Jupiter. At the end of the day, Deke won over Toonmakers. Not that Deke did anything. Not that it wasn't like Deke won over Toonmakers, and it wasn't that, Deke followed the oversight so they won. It was that it was worth too much for Toonmakers won. For Toei and Toonmakers to do what they had to do, or was it Toonmakers and Javon to do what they had to do. So Toei ended up knowing it would be worth too much to do a show that would have been a drawing show and a live show. And it would have been worth too much to do both. So Deke was the more lesser of the two, and that's how Deke won the first two, won the rights to the first two followings. But it would have, but a lot of folks tend to have this, a lot of folks tend to wonder if it is out there. Well, you can see the upcoming on many many films on YouTube. If you look on some webstead somewhere, you can, at least, if you do look up if you look it up, you might come across someone's take on what the first following would have been, and you might see some drawings here and there of Luna, even though Luna would have been white on Toonmakers, and Queen Beryl would look nothing like she looked like on would look unlike, and well, Tuxedo Mask would have, I don't know what he would have looked like. He would have been all, well, my guess is we would never know. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. And instead of being called Serena, which was Deke's name given to me, and Pioneer's name since they kept it, I would have been called Rebecca. So then there would have been that would have been my name. But at the end of the day, Toonmakers did not win. Not that they didn't, their show was just worth too much to do. So Deke's show was lesser, and that's how Deke got the right. Which at the end of the day was good, because then you got to see that Sailor Moon. And I know folks bitched about Deke and their freedoms of shifting everything on the show. But I guess you folks would have been scathing and bitching and whining and nagging about all the things that Toonmaker did to the show if Toonmakers would have gotten it right. So yeah, that's about it for us. Yes, it's Sailor Moon. We're done talking about that. Tell us what you think about Toonmaker's Sailor Moon if you ever saw it. Um, well, that's hard to say. No one actually saw it except for maybe the upcoming. But what do you think? Do you think that them not getting the right to do the show was either worth too much, or do you think it was something else? Do you think it was not following the oversight, not being trusting to the show itself? Let us know what you think about that. I'm Sailor Moon, Sailor Jupiter. See you later.